This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
We get no credit for it. They like to take all the credit.
We live in a civilized society governed by the rule of law.
He believed that the system had failed him.
There's many battles we're fighting on the pro-life front, and there's no shortage of work to be done.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Who's the best crime fighter? Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. It's election season, and Republicans and Democrats are all eager to claim that title. President Trump took that message to the Empire State this afternoon, speaking at a police training center on Long Island, saying Democrats take credit they don't deserve.
We get no credit for it because they say, well, we get no credit for it. They like to take all the credit, but everyone knows.
Trump's trip was mostly an effort to provide a boost to GOP gubernatorial candidate Bruce Blakeman, the Long Island County executive who's facing an uphill battle to unseat incumbent Democrat Kathy Hochul, who released her own batch of crime stats ahead of Trump's visit. Hochul touting a reduction in crime after investing nearly $4 billion during her time in office, and says the state has seen a 10% drop in index crime. A guilty plea but without apology. Luigi Mangione pleading guilty in federal court today to stalking and fatally shooting United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in December 2024 outside of a Manhattan hotel. U.S. District Attorney Jamie McDonald.
We live in a civilized society governed by the rule of law. We debate, we disagree, we protest. We do not commit murder. No grievance, political belief, or ideological cause can ever justify murder.
Mangione made no direct apology to Thompson's family as they watched him in court this morning, nor did his attorney, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, afterwards, instead focusing on what Mangione claims drove him to commit the murder.
Like the thousands of people who've reached out since this tragedy to share their own experiences, he believed that the system had failed him and destroyed his life.
Mangione's due to be sentenced in December on today's federal plea, still pending state charges in the case, which the defense is arguing should now be tossed as legal double jeopardy, though some legal experts say that's a weak argument since the federal and state charges are not identical. The state trial is scheduled to start next month. President Trump wants the Supreme Court to revive his White House ballroom construction project, the administration filing an emergency application today to stay an injunction issued by a lower court. An arrest made in connection with vandalism at the World War II Memorial in our nation's capital.
Yesterday, the memorial was under guard after having the phrase "clean hands, dirty money" spray painted on it. This morning, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro announced 2 felony charges have been filed against a woman who now faces up to 10 years in prison. President Trump blasted the vandalism in a Truth Social post, saying there can be no greater insult to those American heroes who died in World War II. He added, "First the reflecting pool, now this. We are on their trail. Where do these animals come from?" I'm Wendy Swanson.
Massachusetts became the 10th state this week to allow abortions right up to the moment of birth. Christian legal firm Alliance Defending Freedom weary at that news.
There's many battles we're fighting on the pro-life front, and there's no shortage, unfortunately, of work to be done on that front, and we can sincerely use your prayers for a culture that values living human children over a culture of death.
Attorney Chelsea Yeoman tells Family Life News ADF has pro-life lawsuits in play all over the country.
We are representing children in the womb even before they're born for their rights. Once a child is created, there's an ethical duty for that child, a duty of care, just like every living child should have.
Yeoman says blue states have become more blue on the issue of life since the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Lala could be a Lulu, a statewide emergency in effect in Hawaii. NBC's Maggie Vespa tells us heavy rain, damaging winds, and dangerous surf are expected across the 50th state through Sunday, with life-threatening flooding possible on the Big Island and Maui.
Hawaii bracing for what could be the first hurricane to make landfall on the Big Island, with tropical storm Lala still strengthening as it approaches. A week of violent weather leaving devastation in its wake.
A hurricane warning remains in effect for the Big Island, a tropical storm watch on Maui. And an American missionary is reportedly returning to the U.S. after being held hostage for months in northern Africa. Kevin Rideout, kidnapped last October outside of his home in the capital of Niger. It's unclear who seized the 50-year-old missionary pilot. U.S. officials tell the New York Times Rideout's now in U.S. hands and is in good health. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, a recap of our top regional stories and highlights from today's staycation feature. We'll be checking out the Finger Lakes Rail Experience. That's coming up after weather with Kevin.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. The first half of the weekend shapes up nicely weather-wise. Second half, not so much. Moisture ahead of a disturbance will bring some showers and storms. Could be some drenching downpours later Sunday night, especially for those of you in Pennsylvania and New York's southern tier. Our call for tonight, though, turning out clear to partly cloudy and pleasant. Low temperatures in most areas in the 50s. There'll be some valley fog overnight. For tomorrow, it's a mix of clouds and sunshine for New York State initially, then mostly sunshine emerges, and mainly sunny in Pennsylvania. Low humidity, nice day, high in the 70s and low 80s. Sunday, turning out mostly cloudy, more humid with showers arriving. Could be some thunder. Some local downpours are expected. Twin Tiers on south. High temperatures Sunday, 70s and lower 80s.
Thank you, Kevin. Checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Deputy game wardens across Pennsylvania are speaking out after their positions were abruptly eliminated on Thursday. Statewide, the program's been in place since 1903, 123 years.
Spending 10 years for the agency doing this job, and to just be treated that way at the end is unfathomable.
I love doing it. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't have stuck it out for as long as I did.
Deputy game wardens are part-timers and assist full-time wardens across the state. Jake Clevenger is a full-time game warden and tells WGAL.
I think the impact is going to be huge.
Clevenger says wardens do a lot with wild animal management all across the Keystone State.
I think you're going to see the wardens having longer response times now. So when somebody does call the game commission for a nuisance animal or some type of a violation, they're going to have to prioritize, and it's not going to be a quick response.
The Pennsylvania Game Commission offering no explanation why those cuts were made. They simply said it was a, quote, difficult decision. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro suing the Trump administration yet again. He's joined a lawsuit to stop the federal government from getting access to commercial driver's license records. The lawsuit claims the feds are breaking privacy laws. Earlier this year, an illegal immigrant who obtained a commercial driver's license in PA caused a fatal wreck in Indiana that took 4 lives. The state has also joined a settlement for those that were improperly charged for homeowners insurance. That story from Family Life's Sarah Harnish.
The Pennsylvania Department of Banking and Securities announced today it would join financial regulators in 47 states in a settlement totaling $15.5 million with New Res LLC. The Fort Washington-based mortgage service company improperly charged borrowers for force-placed insurance, even when they already had active homeowners insurance policies. As terms of the settlement, New Res must also implement better monitoring to avoid overcharging homeowners. Sarah Harnish, Family Life News.
Thank you, Sarah. A case of measles confirmed in Seneca County, New York, from a resident who was recently in Pennsylvania. The health department says that patients recovering at home. There have been 15 cases of measles confirmed outside of New York City this year, including 1 case in nearby Tioga County. The risk to the general public remains low. Symptoms can include high fever, cough, runny nose, and red watery eyes. A new study by the Business Council of New York shows 8 in 10 New York residents are concerned their utility bills may become unaffordable within the next year. The struggle's real for Katie Hutchings of Western New York.
Anxious, frustrated, overwhelmed. I knew I was behind. I had lots of bills.
Hutchins is a doctoral candidate from the Eastman School of Music in Rochester and tells Spectrum News her power was shut off without her knowledge.
I didn't hear a doorbell ring. I didn't hear anything. I just woke up and my electricity was off. And there was a notice on the door saying, "We stopped by. We missed you. We shut your electric off."
And she says her power didn't come back until she paid her bill in full.
This is all embarrassing to admit publicly. I mean, I am not proud of this.
Just during the month of May, National Grid shut off electric electric or natural gas service to over 15,000 customers for lack of payment. Niagara Mohawk, more than 13,000. NYSEG cut service to 10,000 homes in the month of May. And finally, back to Pennsylvania. The bracket continues to take shape for the Little League World Series next week. Bridgewater, Massachusetts, winning the New England region final last night, while the Northwest region belongs to Soundview, Washington. The remaining 5 regions will be decided this weekend. Up next, highlights from today's staycation feature. I had a chat with Steve Hopper, who manages the popular Finger Lakes Rail Experience, and that's not the only hat he wears there. I was impressed because you're not only the general manager, you're the engineer on the train, too. It's quite a job combination.
Yes, exactly. I've been an engineer for a lot of years and get to enjoy running the train as well as being a part of the management team, yes.
Yeah. So how did Finger Lakes Rail Experience get started, and how did you wind up getting involved?
Finger Lakes Railway themselves used to operate a passenger service on their line, and they were looking for some alternatives back in 2025. So they reached out to our company, and we have a lot of experience running tourist trains in various places in America. And so they approached us and said, hey, is this something you'd be interested in doing? So we came down in early 2025 and took a look and decided, yes, this is something we want to get involved in. And that's how it all started. We had a very successful first season in 2025 and moved upwards of about 13,000 passengers during our season, which ran from July through October. Here we are back in 2026 with season number 2.
Awesome. From what I read, it was quite a cooperative effort that involved a lot of different groups and businesses around the region.
It absolutely does. The actual meat and potatoes of the operation, obviously we work with the Finger Lakes Railway. We are a separate entity from the railway, but they're obviously a big part of what we do. The cars themselves come from a location in New Jersey called the URHS, United Rail Historical Society. So we lease those cars from them. And then all of our onboard services, basically our staff, are all local. We have agreements in place with the Seneca Lakes Wine Trail. The idea here is to highlight the features and the things that you can see and do here in the region. So everything, as I mentioned, is a local product on board our train.
Mm-hmm. If I picture classic rail travel, I'm thinking like the train scene in White Christmas, something like that, Murder on the Orient Express. Give us a little flavor of what the cars are like. I understand they're like 1940s vintage.
Absolutely correct, yes. So there's no requirement to come in dressed in 1940s attire, so to speak, but we definitely put across the 1940s vibe. So what you're going to see when you get on board the train, all the cars have been restored to their basically original condition, obviously fully air conditioned, but the vibe there of the 1940s, whether it be the upholstery, the carpets, the different seating arrangements, the different styles of cars. We have a table car, for example, which is basically, if you consider like an old style dining car. We have a wonderful lounge car, which is just a fantastic social environment there. And then basically the pride of the fleet, the tail end car, which is called the Hickory Creek. That particular car is a rounded end observation car with great big huge windows in it. It's a very famous car. The history of that car was built in 1949. It's got a fantastic history if you take the time to look it all up. We have a lot of information on board. And it's actually been fully restored to its condition back when it was built. So the end result there is not only will you be riding a wonderful observation car, but the bedrooms have all been restored. The bedrooms are there for display only, but you can actually see how those bedrooms would have looked in 1949 in the 50s when the car was operating on the 20th Century Limited. All of the cars have some sort of connection to the New York Central, which makes it even more interesting because, of course, this line, the Finger Lakes Railway line, is an old New York Central line. So there's definitely a connection there as well, and that makes it a lot of fun as well.
Steve Hopper with the Finger Lakes Rail Experience. You can hear the entire feature and all of our Family Life original news features at Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
As you get older and presumably wealthier, new avenues open up for ways to give. Hi, I'm Rob West with a Faith and Finance Minute. Many of us begin our giving journey by sharing from our current income. We earn, we save, and then we give as needs arise. However, over time, much of our wealth may shift into non-cash assets, such as stocks, property, or retirement accounts. That opens the door to new forms of generosity. You might consider giving appreciated stock or making a qualified charitable distribution from your IRA, turning a required minimum into an opportunity to support God's kingdom purposes. You can also explore a donor-advised fund, which allows you to give strategically. Whatever the method, the goal is the same, to honor God and give faithfully with what He's provided. Manage your finances wisely with the easy-to-use FaithFi app. Download FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store, or learn more at faithfi.com.
Thanks, Rob. Finally at 5. Attention all units, be on the lookout for Mozart. More than 200 miniature gold-colored statues of Austria's most famous composer disappeared from his hometown of Salzburg, putting a damper on a 270th birthday tribute to Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. An artist made more than 300 of the little polymer statues, each under 2 feet tall, showing Mozart with his dog. Now they're almost all gone. The sculptor says it was likely not sticky-fingered tourists, but rather an organized local ring of classical crooks, striking a sour note at Salzburg's celebration. And that's the world we live in for Friday, August 14th, 2026. Thank you again for joining us. Have a blessed weekend. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.